Hi everyone, my name is Wesley Hamilton, and I'm the founder and creator of the Practice Peg. Let's talk about a problem that has existed in the realm of stringed instruments for the past 500 years, tuning pegs and how musicians learn to use them. Even for experienced musicians, using tuning pegs for the first time is an intimidating experience. In a recent survey I conducted, the number one emotion associated with tuning pegs was anxiety. The only way to learn this skill is through traditional trial and error on the student's own instrument. When first using pegs, there is a high probability that a student will break a string because they cannot gauge the resistance needed and often are not strong enough to move the pegs themselves. In my recent survey, 68% of students have broken one or more strings while using tuning pegs. Breaking a string can be an alarming and traumatizing event for a student that can inspire insecurity and anxiety when dealing with tuning pegs. Furthermore, the average cost of a string replacement can range from $15 to $50 per string. In a market where over 200,000 student instruments are sold per year, these problems not only affect string players, but also parents and teachers as well. So what is the solution? After 500 years, there's finally a risk-free way to practice using tuning pegs. The Practice Peg is a 3D model of a violin neck, scroll, and peg box that simulates the resistance and fine motor skills needed to use tuning pegs. The Practice Peg encourages long-term skill building and is projected to be less than the cost of a single string replacement. Furthermore, this product is accessible to musicians of all ages and skill levels. So how does it work? When the teacher deems the student ready to use tuning pegs, they will demonstrate the skill on a practice peg. While working with the student to ensure proper technique, the student purchases a practice peg to codify the necessary fine motor skills associated with using pegs. When the student has built confidence, they are ready to use their own tuning pegs on their own instrument. Even if the student loses the feel of it, they can always come back to the practice peg for support and confidence. This product can not only be used in the private lesson, but can also be very effective in large group classes and orchestra ensembles. We plan to market the Practice Peg for under $25, and it costs around $8 per unit to produce at this stage in development. So, although there are no direct competitors for my product, there are companies who make specialized tuning pegs known as geared pegs. Companies like Perfection Pegs and Pegheads require a special peg that has to be fitted on an instrument by a professional luthier at a minimum cost of $90. Furthermore, this solution does not solve the problem associated with learning how to use tuning pegs. It does not remove any risk, but simply makes the peg range less extreme and easier to move. This may sound like a viable option, however, this model is extremely unrealistic for the average string student due to price, and they add a significant amount of weight to the instrument. With myself as the founder and head of entrepreneurship, I've collaborated with my colleagues Ava and Margaret to make a product by musicians for musicians. Currently, there are several practice peg prototypes in development, and our next goals will be to move towards testing. With the Spark Showcase Award, we will continue to build our prototype base in the spring of 2023. Furthermore, our testing phase will begin, and we will use funding for research-associated costs, such as data collection, product efficacy, and testing distribution. Our goals are to launch this product in individual and wholesale markets, targeting the Practice Peg to parents and teachers of string students. Once successful for the violin model, the Practice Peg can be produced for violas, cellos, and other stringed instruments such as guitars and ukuleles. Now, it's time to put it into practice with the Practice Peg.